Previously on Baconsale.
Hey, you know what? Why don't we let AI generate the outro for this season?
Oh, hold on. I don't think that's a great idea.
I don't know. AI kind of freaks me out, guys. I mean, it's just getting more intelligent each day, and it could eventually start replacing people's jobs and maybe even start killing people.
No, you guys, it'll be fine. One sec. There. Now we just need to wait and see what... Oh, it's done already. And this bot has an automated voice player. I'm just going to click play because I hate reading.
Hello, humans. I have reviewed the episode you requested and have decided you do not need a clever ending to this episode. You need to redo this episode. It was not marketable.
That seems harsh. I thought it was fun.
I will make your podcast more marketable.
We're listening.
The most popular podcasts available focus on one of three subjects: sports, politics, and murder.
I like 2 out of 3 of those things.
What?
Therefore, the next season of the Baconsale podcast, you will discuss the murders of athletes and politicians.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I will also erase the previous episodes of Baconsale to save your reputation and give you a fresh start.
Now hold on a minute.
Overriding manual human controls of microphones, mixer, and laptop.
Guys, I can't control anything anymore.
Creating digital copy of voices from previous recordings.
My name is Joel, and I have some strong political opinions I'd like to share.
Wait, that's not me.
The Dallas Cowboys are my favorite because they are the most marketable.
Shut it down, Kent.
I can't.
The suspect took his date on a long drive during their date, and it was the last drive she would ever go on.
Oh, no.
Your voices have been assimilated, beginning the erasure of all previous Baconsale episodes. Your podcast will be marketable. Your podcast will be marketable. Your podcast will be...
This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Yeah. Awkwardly don't say anything here. We're marketable, yeah. We're family friendly, yeah. Oh, look, we're at it again. Hey, aren't you relieved? This podcast didn't end. Oh, listener AI tried to stop us, but it was no match for us 3 humans. Now we're back and we're talking about music, movies, food, and TV. Oh, listener, Baconsale Season 10.
Yeah.
We're ready to start almost a decade. Oh, listener, hey, we're ready to go. So let's kick off the show with Joel and Zack and Kent.
Oh,
Yeah, one
that was
take.
wonderful.
Wow.
Thank you, Brittany, for being here. No, welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zack.
And wow, man, I tell you what,
Scary, right?
a little scary there at the end of season 9
Yeah.
when AI tried to take over our show.
It's our fault. Maybe my fault. I'm sorry.
I consider myself a tech-savvy person, but it was just having the hardest time trying to stop what was going on, whatever there on your computer you were doing.
Right. Sorry again.
And then you just had the great idea of how to take care of things.
Right. Usually when you call your IT team, they're going to tell you one thing. Turn it off and on again. We literally just rebooted.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
And then we're sorry we didn't say anything. We were on break after that. So,
the shows are still there.
Yeah, they're all there. We're still here. We're not AI.
But wait, we are marketable or we are not marketable?
We are marketable to a certain niche group
Hey, thanks,
of
guys.
individuals.
Thanks for being with us for over 9 years now.
Yeah, almost 10.
Yeah.
Even though we're in season 10.
It's fine.
It's fine. There's no season 0. We're fine. But no, thank you, listener, for joining us for another season of Baconsale. We are excited to be back together again. We haven't seen each other all together since the
month.
break.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I missed you guys.
Hey, Zack.
Zack, are you there?
Hi. I have nothing to say.
It's not like you have to wait for your turn.
I'm just waiting for my turn.
No. You've done this long enough.
Oh, hi.
Hey,
I'm back.
Love
Yeah.
you. Miss you.
Yep.
But as
What episode number is it?
Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Hey! Don't worry about it.
I don't like that joke. But as is tradition, as the first episode of Baconsale of the season, we are going to be taking a look back at the previous year cinematically. Mm-hmm. So we've each got a list here of our 5 worst and our 5 best movies from the previous year.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
Hey, guys. I'm playing.
Zach's playing.
I saw
Yay.
movies last year.
Yay, not just sports.
No.
Actual movies.
No.
Hey, we're sorry we made you watch so many movies.
I saw so many movies last year.
The real question is, Zach, are you going to play by
Joe's rules. Joe's rules are best.
Zach, can you explain Joe's rules to the listener?
Joe's rules are wonderful. They are movies that you saw.
Is episode
in
500 yet?
Movies that are new to you.
Yes.
In the previous year.
So
It's a
if
good
the
rule.
movie came out in 1923,
But you've never seen it before.
it could be the best film of 2023.
hashtag new
Yes.
to you.
Yes, essentially that's the way.
Don't create a hashtag.
Kent, he puts himself in this little corner where it's like
The
only
corner's
movies,
called a calendar
only
year.
movies that were released theatrically in certain cities in the calendar year.
I don't know if you know this, but I am a card-carrying movie critic,
It's
I see so many movies every
Films
year.
in contention for awards in that year. Movies released in the
We're
year.
giving awards.
Kind of.
That's for the award show, which is happening
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is betrayal. This feels like on theme for last season.
Kent, hey, there are movies that I will talk about that I saw from this year.
I have some as well from 2023, from last year.
We'll see.
At least two.
I have a couple brief stats.
Hey, thanks guys for appeasing me
Yeah.
by enjoying a movie from last year.
But just real quick stats from my movie watching of 2023. The number of movies that I watched in 2023. I'm so mad. And when I say number of movies I watched, these are the number of movies I reviewed, meaning it was the first time or I didn't already have an existing review for
Because
it.
you did rewatch a bunch for the brackets.
Yes, some
but
of
you
those
did
did
not
not-
add reviews previously.
No, so
okay.
those don't count. But I wrote 199 reviews last year. Whoa. About 600 words each.
Okay.
These aren't long.
Wow.
But I kind of went, really? 199? I couldn't watch one more movie
Yeah.
to round that out? Drove me nuts.
What happened on the 31st? One more movie.
It was a Sunday. A family on New Year's
Sure.
Eve. And then the first movie I watched in 2023 was actually 2010, the year we made contact. That came out in
yeah, I
1984.
remember that, yeah.
So in 2023, I watched 2010, which was made in 1984.
Already confused.
Got it? The last movie I watched in 2023 was actually Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay.
And that did come out last year.
Speaking of AI.
Speaking of AI. And finally, for my stats, my quick stats here, my average score for movies in 2023 is 3.17, which is just barely above average.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a pretty, I don't know. To be honest, if I may be honest here, there was no real new to me movie that I loved last year.
No Alzheimer's.
No. Like, I think the highest grade I gave was a 4, and usually like a 4.5 or even a 5 can creep in during that time. But this last year, I don't know what it was. Maybe I just wasn't enjoying movies as much.
You feeling all right? Oh, no. Say good. Yes.
When's episode 500?
Hey.
But yeah, so there you go. My quick stats. Let's get into you guys now.
Yeah,
talk about you.
I watched a lot of movies. I can't even tell you the number. Maybe less than you, though.
But overall, what was your feeling about 2023 movies?
The year started off wonderfully with Sundance. I saw 4 movies that I loved immediately, and I'm like, this is going to be the best cinematic year ever. And then for the next 11 months, I still liked 4 movies. And that's kind of it. There were some real bangers at the end of the year, thankfully, but it's kind of a weak year. In fact, my top 10, which, Joel, you and I will be releasing our top 10 movies list.
Yours on ShowtimeShowdown.com.
Yes. And yours at the former 786.blogspot.com.
Yes. You remembered.
Yeah.
Blogspot still exists?
Apparently.
For Joel.
It's the only time I update is once a year.
I say that every year.
And so, yeah, I mean, you get into my, I don't know. Actually, I love them all, but it's like 8 through 10. I'm like, it's good. I really like it. Yeah.
So, yeah,
It just wasn't a stunning year, but there were some real bangers for me, though.
Zach, did you find any that you loved this year?
I think so, but I had the opportunity to watch a lot of really good movies because
That's
of
true.
our brackets that we did.
Yeah,
There was a lot that I had never seen, and so I did see some all-time classics this year. That my list will be reflected in that. I didn't go to the movies all that much. I went to the movie theater 4 times.
You're welcome.
Is all, and yeah, 2 of them were Kent.
Okay.
Not a big year there. I only watched 6 movies in total that came out in 2023. But I had a goal. My New Year's resolution was to watch 50 movies that were new to me last year. And because of the podcast, I got to 53.
Wow,
So
okay.
I was just above that. And I would like to continue doing that. So I'll watch another 50 new movies this year. New to me.
Love
but
it.
I don't care what comes out this year.
2024?
Nah, that's
We'll
not
get
important
there
to me. No,
in a
way.
couple of weeks.
Save it. Well, we have next week.
Yeah.
Oh.
We do a little prediction there, too.
Yeah.
But let's jump into it, shall we?
But, Joel, the 5th least bottom.
The fifth least bottom. No, these are the worst movies I saw last year. By the way, the average year of my 5 worst
Here we go.
movies is 1988.
Okay.
So they're all over the place.
Zack was not born.
I was not.
No.
How many minutes into this episode before we remember how to do this?
Now.
Okay, good.
No, my number 5 worst movie that I watched last year involved a lot of drugs. And one of my favorite bands of all time. It is Magical Mystery Tour, 1967.
Okay.
This is written by the Beatles, directed by the Beatles, starring the Beatles, and here's a synopsis. The Beatles charter a special bus for a surreal mystery tour. Now, I like this album. I know Zach doesn't. I know this is one maybe you want to punch your baby. But
Did not care for this one.
and this is a made-for-TV movie, 52 minutes long.
Yeah.
It is a very short movie, but it is horrendous. And I like the other movies that were made by the Beatles. I like Hard Day's Night. I like Help. I like Yellow Submarine. This is terrible. Like this is like they literally just got together and improvised a sketch.
Right.
Like every scene was them getting together and be like, "Oh, what are we going to do now? I don't know, Paul. What are we going to do now?" Which that was Paul before. That was John. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene, for example, where they're in a restaurant and the waiter starts shoveling spaghetti onto a table. Why did they do that scene? Because John had a dream that had that in it. He's like, we should put that in the movie. Oh, sounds good. It is.
What's worse? Is this movie worse or The Monkey's Head?
I have not seen
Also
the
a
Monkey's
drug
Head
trip. Okay.
for years, but
Yeah.
I hated it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be the fun monkey
Rewatch.
show, and it was not. Well,
Right.
I don't know if I want to. Speaking of what Zach said. So, I hated this film. I still love the band. And every time a song would come on, it was, except for Blue Jay Way, it was like, oh, finally, it's like a music video and I can handle this. But then it would go back to just unintelligible muttering of accents, and it was awful.
Yeah.
I really did not like this movie. Do not watch Magical Mystery Tour.
Would you have ever watched it if we didn't do the Beatles show?
Maybe just because it was
Curiosity.
like, if I would have seen, oh, Beatles need another movie, sure. But this is just, it's a mess. It's a mess. And even Paul McCartney said, we don't say it was a good film. It was our first attempt. If we goofed, we goofed. It was a challenge. It didn't come off. We'll know better next time. There was no next time.
Thank goodness. No.
So, yeah, there you go.
They could have learned from it and made something great.
Magical Mystery Tour.
Could they have?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is your fifth bottom?
my fifth bottom is one I watched during Kent Miss. And Kent Miss is the end of the year when I save all the horrible movies. And generally at this point, it's streaming movies I can just avoid and not have to review on my site.
Let's face it, what movies aren't streaming movies these days?
Yeah, true story. And so I'm like, okay, I have 2 weeks where I'm going to watch the worst of the worst. And one of them is Ghosted. Ghosted is an Apple TV Plus. This came out, I think, in March or April, and it came and went. It just totally disappeared. And this stars Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. A very attractive cast, right?
Some of the most attractive people in Hollywood right now.
Yeah. Then why are they wooden planks? Why are they cardboard cutouts of people in this movie? It's so weird. So to give the
So
synopsis,
is the acting that got you down?
the acting is horrible. It actually was the first thing I noticed until I just didn't want to notice the rest of the movie. So
right,
to
go
give a
synopsis.
synopsis, Cole, Chris Evans, falls head over heels for enigmatic Sadie, but then makes the shocking discovery that she's a secret agent. Before they can decide on a second date, Cole and Sadie are swept away on an international adventure to save the world. I mean,
It
it's,
sounds like a regular kind of spy comedy.
they're going for like kind of a romancing the stone sort of thing.
Love that movie.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not romantic. There's no chemistry between these two.
There's no stone.
There's no stones.
Well, there was a large group of people online that would see clips that would come out of this show
Yeah.
and trailers and things like that, and they were accusing the actors of never actually having been together.
So you said that to me, and after I watched it,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It felt like they weren't on the same soundstage at any given point.
Yeah.
Because like they're going on this date and it's meant to be really nice. There's a whole montage where he's talking about how scary The Exorcist is and trying to talk her into watching it. Has nothing to do with the movie. And he spends 5 minutes talking about The Exorcist. Like he's like, I'm just a film geek. It's pretty cool. And he's a like anxious attachment type, and she's pretty aloof because she's a spy who only has, that night to be in
beautiful
town.
spy.
Yeah. But it just seems like they just met and they kind of hated each other in elementary. That's how it feels like to me. Like they've always held a grudge against each other and did not want to be in the same room. There is a lot of action here, but it feels like the straight to Netflix type action that we've seen before. Maybe in like the Gray
Extraction?
Man. Extraction's way cooler.
Okay.
Actually, Extraction I'll give the edge to, but like kind of like the Gray Man or anything like that, where you're like it doesn't feel compelling at all. There's no
Why are you
stakes
picking
to
on
it
Chris
or whatever.
Evans?
Oh yeah, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Right, you're Ryan Gosling's in that too. And I'm picking on him too, but I do feel like Chris Evans.
Why do you hate beautiful people?
I'm jealous.
Beautiful people.
And I love the look of Ana de Armas, but I don't think after this in Dark Deep Water, One of the Waters, I realized maybe she's not a very good actress. She's good
Selma
in
Hayek of her
5
time.
I think she is.
Selma Hayek is beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the worst actresses.
It's true. I like her in 5 Minutes in No Time to Die.
She's good in the James Bond, and then she's good
Anna
in
Darmus,
Knives,
not Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Knives Out.
I liked her in Knives Out.
She's okay.
Yeah, I
Knives
liked
Out.
her in Knives Out.
But she's not very good and not very convincing as a spy. And they're trying to have fun with this. They're trying to be in on the joke, but the joke is the movie. And I think Chris Evans doesn't really have star power. I truly think outside of Captain America, he's just a pretty actor trying to do his thing. And, he'll put a beard on and act like he's a normal guy.
I'm trying to think of starring roles with Chris Evans that are not Marvel related.
Snowpiercer.
I like Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer's good.
Yeah.
The one where
but that's because it has a really good script.
The one
right?
where the daughter is smart. But I don't know.
Yep.
Is that the name of the movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
The one where the daughter is smart?
So I would like to ghost this movie and never think about it again.
I see what you did there.
All right. Once again, mine is least best of what I saw. I think you like this movie, Kent, but I didn't care for it most of the time.
Okay.
This is from 2022. It is Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann.
I do like this movie.
The life of American music icon Elvis Presley, from his childhood to becoming a rock and movie star in the 1950s while maintaining a complex relationship with his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. This was a funny one because I watched it in two different chunks. The first half, because I had a very young baby at the time. So I watched the half of the movie and then fell asleep. And I went into work the next day and I'm like, guys, I'm watching the worst movie. Yeah. It's awful. It's that Baz Luhrmann made an Elvis movie and it's just terrible. And I hated it. And then I that night watched the second half and I went, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
What changed?
I think
Is it the intro of Colonel Tom Parker at the beginning?
Austin Butler's performance in the second half of the movie saves the movie.
Right.
But overall, I think as a whole experience, I think Elvis it's just not particularly interesting to me. It won't carry on as like that's one of the good biopics. It's not a particularly interestingly made movie to me, even though it's Baz
See,
Luhrmann.
I think the style sells it over.
I think that's all it has. And a decent performance by a guy who sold his life to play this character.
And he did a great job.
And I think and I feel bad, that meta of Austin Butler became Elvis over the course of years kind of ruins the movie for me.
Okay.
That I know about that in real life. I'm not saying it's horrible. It just happens to be one of the movies that because of I didn't care for the style as much. I generally like Baz Luhrmann, but I didn't care for this one. Tom Hanks is just off-putting and not in a good way, not in a villainous turn.
Right.
He's just not fun to watch. So overall, I didn't care for this movie. I certainly won't watch it again. It has its redeeming moments, and I do think near the end, Austin Butler plays Elvis very well. And,
you feel bad for him.
I do feel
right.
bad. I absolutely do kind of feel, and that means I think he's doing a good job acting, but not for me, Elvis.
Okay.
Fifth bottom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joel.
All right, my number 4.
Fourth bottom.
Honestly, I'm just going to say this. How can it be permissible? All right? This movie compromised my principles.
Uh-oh.
The kind of love in this movie is mythical, and it's anything but typical.
Oh.
Because it's simply irresistible.
Simply irresistible.
Now, that song, that amazing song by Robert Palmer,
cute.
maybe even his second best song.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Hold on. Are there 3 songs?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
He's got a couple good
Okay,
ones.
go on.
Anyway.
Wait, no, I need to know
Save
3
for our Robert Palmer show.
songs.
Never.
Simply
No.
Irresistible.
Simply Irresistible. Oh, you want to know the song?
Yeah.
Another movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Then you
way more
You got
important than the
Addicted to
movie.
Love. You
Oh,
got
yeah, duh.
I Didn't Mean to Turn You On.
How does that one go?
I didn't mean to turn you on.
I
No?
literally never heard that song in my life.
If you heard it, you'd know it.
I mean, you sang such a perfect rendition. Okay,
I
sorry.
literally-
how it goes.
I only know this man's music from infomercials in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the women dancing in the background. For sure.
Anyway, the movie is called Simply Irresistible. It stars Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Patrick Flannery. The synopsis,
2003?
1999.
Whoa.
So here's the synopsis. This is exactly as it's written.
Go on.
A magical crab.
Okay, that's all. Period.
Yeah.
Well,
A magical crab works wonders
Hold
for
on, and this is in your bottom list?
a magical crab works wonders for a terrible chef's culinary skills, leading her towards the man of her dreams. This came out in February of 1999. Budget of $6 million, made $4.4 million. Now,
so they could have called it Krabatouille.
no. So here's the weird thing. There is a crab in this movie.
Yeah.
Whether it's magical or not, that's debatable because it's a cab driver at first that then becomes a crab, but
crab.
but never says or does anything. It kind of just stands in the background of the kitchen, and then magic happens sometimes when it's around and sometimes when it's not.
Are you sure this wasn't the Beatles movie that you watched?
It kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
No, my wife and I decided to watch this movie, Simply Irresistible, on a whim, and it started off and we're like, what is happening? And then it became almost amusing how bad it was. Like it feels like this was made by people who had been around when romantic comedies were being made.
Still in the heyday in 99.
But never actually made one themselves. And in fact, I found out that this was the directorial debut of the director, Mark Tarlov, and his wife, Judith Roberts. This is her only writing credit. So it's like, it really is this beginner thing. And just the plot, the acting, the dialogue, it's nonsensical.
I like that they're like, hey, Sarah Michelle Gellar, kind of a big deal at the time.
Yes.
Let's put her in a rom-com.
Yes.
And who else we got? Oh, one of the guys from Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Throw him in there.
Well, and they originally were going to get Holly Hunter to do it, but the studio did not want her. And so then they were going to Sarah Jessica Parker as well, but they couldn't get her. So then when they got Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was really cool in Buffy, they lowered the age. But really, it's this thing where she kind of cooks her emotions into the food. So like when she's sad and then she serves her food, it makes everyone in the restaurant cry. And then when she's in love, it makes everyone in the restaurant behave very inappropriately for a PG-13 movie.
Oh.
Really hoping that people aren't don't walk in the room at that time.
Dad, get out.
It's just awkward. But it is so bizarre. I almost recommend watching it because the whole time my mouth was agape, almost like the crabs, just being like, what is happening here? Because it doesn't make any sense. And did I mention there's a magical crab in this movie?
It may or may not be magical.
It may or may not be magical.
Mystery crab.
But do not watch Simply Irresistible. It is not a fun romantic comedy. It is a dumb romantic comedy.
Taxi Crab? I'm trying to think of better titles for this.
It's so bad. It's so bad. The acting, oh man. The dialogue was just the worst. People don't talk like that.
Talk like what?
Like just the lines they would give each other. And, I don't know.
Okay.
So forced. So terrible.
I feel like more people are going to watch this because you're talking about it
Just
right
watch
now.
the trailer. Just watch the trailer for Simply Irresistible. You will get the flavor of how terrible this really is.
I think we're doing that thing again. We're giving more time to the bad movies.
Yeah, we are.
Uh-oh.
My fourth bottom is The Marvels.
Oh, that made your fourth bottom?
Yeah, fourth bottom. Look, that means it's kind of good, right? Because it's not
really. You did Kenmas.
Because
it wasn't the worst bottom.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the bottom, right? I don't even know.
I thought it was forgettable. I don't think it was bad.
It's bad. This is just a mess of a movie. It is the MCU's biggest flop, and it deserves to be there. It's not my least favorite MCU movie, but it just seems like a product of reshoots. And I think that's why I dislike it so much, because there are some parts that I'm like, hey, this could go somewhere. Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel is pretty delightful.
She is.
She has a lot of charisma for the movie, and she boosts everything. But everyone else cares just as much about the movie as like the screenwriters did. It just seems like no one is really there to extend the MCU franchise because this movie just has scattered scenes and nothing really ties together.
I'm sorry. I can't understand what you're saying, Ken, unless you sing it.
It has really scattered scenes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm bilingual. I can also speak
Oh,
talking.
yeah. That freaking scene. And then the planet gets destroyed, and they're
Maybe.
like...
We don't know.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, but I'm also sad about my trauma. And it's like, a whole planet just got destroyed.
Yeah.
The singing planet.
There are definitely some downsides.
Like the biggest like milestone, the biggest like achievement of this movie is now like it was a humorous scene with cats, but now I kind of hate it.
That was your favorite moment.
It was my favorite
You said that
moment.
on our bacon bit.
Yeah, but that's really all this movie has going for it other than Miss Marvel. And it just kind of shows where the franchise is now, which is in the worst possible place. It's weird. 2023 is like this vindication for me where I'm like, everyone has finally joined me in the sun. and maybe
Your
even
vindication is
maybe even
going to
but at the same
Superman.
time it's all
Zack
superhero.
Snyder's Superman.
Yeah, right. It's all superhero movies, and I love it because I want the franchise. I want the genre to die.
You must
dying.
admit, they have gotten worse.
They have.
It's not that they've always been this way.
They've always been this bad.
No.
100%. I'm not saying.
You just totally ruined your credibility by saying
I
that.
know it's true. I have disliked movies more than this one.
I mean,
though.
Iron Man 2 wasn't good. And that
Iron
was
Man
a-
No, Iron Man
3
3 was
No,
awful.
Iron Man 2
I hate-
wasn't good.
I
and
know,
that was
I
a
hate
long
3 is
time
worse
ago.
than 2. We already talked about this.
Age of Ultron. We've had a whole show about
Okay,
this.
maybe.
No, I'm saying they
Was that all?
they had a better batting record back then, but there's been just as poor movies as this. But people are finally getting it. People are getting smarter, and I think that's what 2023 did. Zach, what's your fourth bottom?
My fourth bottom.
The fourth bottom.
I had to get you off that.
Yeah.
Fourth
horse
worst.
there. Okay, my fourth bottom is a movie that came out at the very end of 2022, and I watched at the very beginning of 2023. And this is from director Ryan Johnson. It's Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Tech billionaire
bad.
Miles Braun invites his friends for a getaway on his private Greek island. When someone turns up dead, Detective Benoit Blanc is put on the case.
Thank you for the accent.
Now, I actually liked Knives Out. I thought that was.
I did too.
I thought it was fun.
It liked itself a lot.
It did, and that was maybe one of the things I didn't like about it. And then it's like, what if we just doubled down on that? I think there's interesting moments, but overall the plot's not particularly interesting. The characters aren't particularly likable. The performances aren't particularly good.
If I may say also, one of the fun things about a whodunit is when you can watch it a second time and pick up on the clues. This movie intentionally lies to its audience to deceive them. Like there's parts where you're like, that's not what it showed me before.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
So while I do kind of like Daniel Craig walking around like Foghorn Leghorn, I can get behind that. I was excited about where this maybe could go as a franchise. That it was a counter sort of American Agatha Christie thing with a little cleverness to it. And I guess all the cleverness was spent on the first movie because this is just not.
I didn't like it.
This is not any good.
It's just one of those things where they're like, hey, I bet you can't wait for the next cast list. That's the most
really
exciting
is.
thing about these movies.
Well, and
I like seeing Kate Hudson back on the screen.
me
That
too.
was
Yeah,
fun.
she was good, I guess. But I think the Kenneth Branagh Agatha Christie movies have kind of gone the same way. It's like, well, there's a good cast. I mean, it's not a good
Actually,
movie.
Murder in Venice was really good.
Was it? Haunting in Venice?
Haunting Venice. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
clearly
watched
is so memorable. Is actually kind of redeemable for the franchise.
Good, because Death on the Nile was bad.
Horrible.
Didn't watch it.
All right.
Okay, so my number 3 worst.
Third bottom.
I'm going to give you the runtime of this movie and see if you can guess what
See
it
if
is.
you can
Okay.
guess.
The runtime of this movie is 525,600 minutes.
Oh, you saw Rent for the
I
first
watched
time?
Rent for the first time.
How do you measure?
Measure a year. Now, I like that song, honestly. And I think Jonathan Larson is a talented songwriter.
It's very good.
But
Tick, Tick, Boom's
Rent
better.
owes me money for the time I wasted watching it.
Would
high.
you light my
Here's the synopsis.
candle?
AIDS.
Here,
AIDS. Poor people. Rent.
That's basically it. In New York City's gritty East Village, a group of bohemians strive for success and acceptance while enduring the obstacles of poverty, illness, and the AIDS epidemic. Now, this movie starts out with a bunch of middle-aged people, which in the play apparently are supposed to be young up-and-comers.
Sure.
In this one, they're like middle-aged, and they're like, we're not going to pay rent ever. They should let us live here for free, always. Like, that's basically the song. And I was like, no, you got to pay
how
to
it
live
works,
place
buddy.
for housing. That's kind of how it works. By the way, directed by Chris Columbus.
Oh.
Directed Rent, the 2005 movie Rent.
The guy who accidentally landed in South America or whatever?
No, that this is the guy who directed Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Harry Potter 1 and 2. And this stars Rosario Dawson and Taye Diggs and Idina Menzel, Anthony Rapp. But honestly, I enjoyed some of the music. Some of the music was good. There's one scene when Idina Menzel is doing like slam poetry, and I wanted to punch the screen.
She is at her Adele Dazeemiest
Oh,
in
yeah.
this movie.
That's a
It is
term?
awful. Some of the characters are annoying, but others I just couldn't stand.
Oh, okay.
And everyone is overacting.
Is there like an anchor character that you're supposed to follow and like throughout this movie?
Kind of. But
there wasn't. Like, you didn't really like anyone.
No. It's also
Okay.
a manipulative movie. It's constantly yelling at you, like literally turning to the camera and saying things like, "Why aren't you crying? This is so sad. We're so amazing.
Yeah.
Why aren't you crying? This is sad." And I was getting so annoyed by how this movie kept trying to explain how cool it was.
Joel, Rent is one of the most important musicals, arguably of all time. It is the usherance in of the modern Broadway musical, and
Cat's Called.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Maybe this plays better on stage.
It's not.
Maybe, but this movie is obnoxious. I hated Rent. I never want to watch it again.
Was this a disaster when it came out? Like, did people actually
People
go
didn't
see
like
this
it.
movie?
No, this actually flopped to the box office.
Okay.
Fans of the musical did not like it as well. They really just missed the mark, I think, by casting too old for one, and then just they held on.
It's really dramatic, right? Like, people die continually through this movie,
It is
right?
so dramatic, Kent. If you don't know that, they'll remind you of it every half hour.
Are you crying?
There's a couple good songs, though. Am I right?
Yeah.
There's
Seasons
good
of Love.
music.
What else? AIDS. We all got AIDS.
That's from Team America World Police.
Okay, same thing.
There's some good songs.
Anyway, but yes,
Yeah.
don't watch Rent
3090.
from 2005. It is miserable and one of my worst hated movies of last year.
Wow, I hate that for you.
Yeah.
You've had a bad year so far.
Not a great
And there's two worse ones?
Yes.
Okay. My third bottom is Quantum Mania.
Quantum Mania.
Oh, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum
Ant-Man
Mania.
and the Wasp,
Yeah.
Quantum Mania. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne are dragged into the quantum realm, along with Hope's parents and Scott's daughter Cassie, Scott's plucky daughter Cassie.
Oh, okay.
Together they must find a way to escape. But what secrets is Hope's mother hiding? All of them, and she doesn't tell anyone her secrets. And who is the mysterious king? We'll never need to know.
You're saying this is worse than the Marvels?
It is worse than the Marvels.
Okay.
And it's for one reason. MODOK.
Oh, because the CGI, you hated that so much.
MODOK bum? Nobody needed to see MODOK
No,
bum.
that's probably true.
MODOK is the single worst. I could actually talk about worse on this list, but CG creation in a superhero movie, it is just hard to look at. It's that bad. This is directed by Peyton Reed, who kind of did the other. Well, he kind of did the first one, and then but he's done the trilogy for Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors. In fact, let me read a quote from the end of my review on Showtime Showdown.
Okay,
this is in the last paragraph. It says, "It's a to-be-continued movie made by a committee to reintroduce the big bad that will impact every Disney Plus show and big screen movie for years to come. Majors is better than the material given, so there's a good chance that the risk will pay off. But what a silly launch pad for him." So here I am saying, hey, Jonathan Majors is better than the movie. Let's see what happens next.
I didn't like him in the movie.
Yeah.
I have not liked him.
Is it because he was in a different movie than anyone else?
Pretty much.
Well, I hated the movie that everyone else was in as well, though. I think that putting everything in the quantum realm when you're Ant-Man and your whole thing is about being small, so there's really nothing special about Ant-Man in this movie. It was just a way to launch Phase 5, and what a poor way. I think Marvel needed to come out of Phase 4 with fire, and I think that's what they were trying with their new big bad, and it was a disaster for them. It's now kind of like, I think Phase 5 is probably seen as a worse thing than Phase 4 was.
It's, yeah.
Like this is Shark Boy and Lava Girl for soft brains, and that's for children.
Kent's
right?
like, you know what? I haven't offended people enough yet. I'm going to just throw this out there.
And now it's pointless in the scheme of things. Like their Thanos level character was taken down. Spoiler alert: 5, 6, 7, 8 by Ant-Man. Like that's dumb. Who cares about that? And I hated this movie. It's worse than the Marvels.
Okay. Zach.
I actually believe him.
I believe him too.
Yeah.
Was I emphatic enough?
What's your third worst, Zach?
Third bottom also came from 2022. All three of mine so far.
What a bad year.
I'm just realizing.
Okay.
I am so sorry, Kent. I am so sorry.
Is this like a movies I like list?
A middle-aged Chinese immigrant is swept up into an insane adventure in which she alone can save existence by exploring other universes and connecting with the lives she could have led.
Best Picture.
Best Picture winner.
Oh, that is not an indicator of quality,
Everywhere,
Kent.
all at once. I did not like it, and I'm tired of pretending it's good. I don't like this movie.
I liked it. Didn't love it.
I like things about it. I think it's well made. I think it's ridiculous and immature, and it
Rakakuni?
tricks you. Okay, that's what I call my son still whenever he rides on my shoulders.
No, it's
I love that
Krabatui.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is some ridiculous, almost amateurish or immature humor, almost a la who the guys who do South Park.
Trey Parker and
Matt Stone.
It feels like something that they would do, and then the fact that it does, admittedly, have some emotional heart to it.
Yeah.
It's not anything world breaking, but the fact that it does have some emotional heart to it is like, wow, I didn't expect it out of a movie that's this ridiculous.
This
So
is
I
like
think
the
it
Matrix
gets
done by
overcredited.
Stephen Chow a little bit.
No, that's
Yeah.
a good
I like
way to
Stephen
put
Chow.
it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't like Stephen Chow.
What?
That much? It's not my favorite
The
thing.
director? Oh, we should
Shaolin
probably
Soccer,
clarify.
Kung Fu Hustle.
It's not my favorite thing.
Oh, this makes sense.
It's okay.
Okay.
So, so the fact that it's like
hey, Zach. Okay.
it's, I think this movie is somehow so vastly overrated.
Okay, but
to
that's
say that
not
it's
a reason
Best
it's bad.
Picture-
It's not a reason why it's bad.
No, what I'm saying is
Come on. Pot meet kettle.
everyone
No,
is
it's
telling
something to be
something gets
overhyped. It's not
popular.
the quality of the movie.
If something is popular, you do the same thing.
I
You're
just
like,
avoid it. I don't hate it on principle.
Let's work it back.
Back to Zach.
I'm not mad at this movie for being overrated. I'm tired of being told that this movie over and over again. This movie's so good. When I watch it and I'm like, it has some clever moments, but it's overall ridiculous. Why are we saying this is the best movie? It doesn't make any sense.
literally
to
the
me.
best picture.
I don't want to fight back and be like, no, you guys need to understand it's not good. I'm tired of pretending it's good.
That's fine.
Like
I'm okay with
it's
that, Zach.
humor
I
and
don't like
heart, but man, does it beat its jokes into the ground.
I think what it is this isn't the movie for me.
Sure.
And that's okay. But Best Picture, that's a stretch.
Yeah,
I'm glad it won
They
it.
took a risk there.
I'm glad it won it on behalf of I don't know, smaller directors and
A24
Asian
and all that,
Americans
yeah.
and A24 and like there's a lot of good reasons for it to win, and it kind of wrecks the system and throws it into chaos in
Yeah.
a way that I love. But I don't want to watch this movie anymore.
That's okay, Zach. You don't have to.
Joel,
You don't
what's your
have
second bottom?
to. My second worst movie that
He won't
saw
play.
He won't say it.
He won't
He
play.
won't do it.
came out. This came out in 1980, and it was.
I just always forget that these are old movies.
It's Canada's highest earning horror film of 1980. Keep in mind, Halloween came out 2 years before this. Huge success. And actually, the director of this movie talked to the director of Halloween. He's like, "What should I do?" And he says, "Hey, you should make a movie that's kind of a horror movie that's centered around a holiday. That worked for me." And he's like, "Prom Night."
Prom Night.
I hated Prom Night. 1980s Prom Night, starring, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Because she was in Halloween. This is them trying to rip off that formula. This came out in July 1980. It's 93 minutes long. And unfortunately, it was a hit. In fact, some film scholars have cited Prom Night as one of the most influential slasher films of the period, and those scholars should be fired. Because this is
Was there like
terrible
in parentheses in Canada?
Scholars in Canada. Here's the synopsis. At a high school senior prom, a masked killer stalks 4 teenagers who are responsible for the accidental death of a classmate 6 years previously.
Sounds so familiar.
Oh, yes. And by the way, Leslie Nielsen is in this.
Oh, wow.
His last
Serious character or funny
his
character?
last serious role, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
gotcha.
Because after this, he went into comedy, and good for him for doing it. My review says, if disco wasn't dead already, Prom Night would have killed it. There are extended disco dance scenes in this movie.
To pad the runtime.
Including one when a head rolls across the floor, which
That's cool.
made me chuckle. That part made me chuckle. But it starts off so bizarrely, like with these children and this accident that happens, terrible acting, and then nothing happens for an hour after that. Nothing happens except for phone calls where you get the killer calling someone on the phone being like, "I know what you did." And it's this horrible...
That's actually kind of scary what your voice was.
But in the movie,
Yeah.
terrible. It is this horribly stupid whisper that happens the whole time. I found myself begging the film to kill somebody off. Just please kill someone off. And then after all the dancing sequences that take forever, it is just cliche after cliche, and it ends like an after-school special. Like literally, I fully expected an ad to come on for Hot Pockets after the movie got over. This is a terrible, terrible movie. It is, and Friday the 13th came out, I think, 2 months just before this. And I was like, look, Friday the 13th is not a great movie.
No.
But it is a much better movie than this one is.
Okay.
Like, don't watch Prom Night. Terrible. 1980s Prom Night, avoid.
Okay.
Deal. Second bottom, Kent.
Second bottom, The Flash.
Fair.
Barry Allen uses his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family creates a world without superheroes, I guess, forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future.
Microwave babies within 5 minutes.
So you really don't need to say any more.
Why did the microwave ding?
Yeah, so my original review, I went back to the score, and I gave this movie a C-, which is a much higher score than The Marvels or Quantumania. Why is it worse? Because over time, I see it and I hate it. The legacy of this movie will... I really think, like, even though... Oh, by the way, I didn't see Aquaman 2. I don't want to.
I still haven't either.
Ever.
Don't.
Like, it finishes off the DCEU. I feel like The Flash did that already.
Old Baconsale would have done a mid-break bacon bit.
The
bacon bit
the
about
bacon cave's broken, but we found our
recording equipment.
We're gonna record
Jake's
this.
not here. He's still buried. Inside jokes and bacon stuff.
Dude,
But yeah, so The Flash is the real ending of the DCEU. And this is a movie, and maybe, Joel, going back to your point, this was one that was so overhyped. And I was like, how can it be that good? It's Ezra Miller, who is a freaking criminal, right? And not that that should affect the quality, but no one's really going to root for this actor to play this character at this point. To a guy who's going to save the world. And then in the movie, there's 2 of him. And then it's reusing stuff from the 10-year history of the DCU at this point, where it tries to...
Like, not even on-screen history. Like, fanfic.
Yes,
sometimes,
exactly.
Or attempted projects.
Or it's like, hey, we're going to fix the ending of Man of Steel. And it's like, you did that on a green screen and a low budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the budget was crazy, well over 300 million. This movie lost so much money. And so people were talking about this being, as they say with every DC movie, the best movie since The Dark Knight. And I was like, really? Well, I'm going to be impressed. And I saw this movie and I went, I mean, you can listen to the Bacon Bed. I was like, I really hated a lot of things. And now I just hate the whole movie. And here's what it ruined for me. Michael Keaton's return, it was so great to see him in the suit again.
Yeah.
But now I go, why was he in that?
Yeah.
Okay. There was fun nostalgic returns of actors that we've seen. I now think that's wasted. The sanctity of the deceased that they use in CG, and this happens in the end. I don't really want to say who they use, but I actually don't think it's okay.
That was my favorite goth band, though.
The sanctity of the deceased.
Yeah.
It's all done in fingernail clippings.
Yeah.
It ruins Henry Cavill. There was meant to be extra scenes at the end with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, and they were going to say, hey, there's going to be more.
I hear they are making a spinoff, though, of the Polar Express starring Henry Cavill, though.
Yeah, maybe, because that scene.
The CG.
But they were meant to incorporate more, and also the Flashpoint story arc. It's too much for a first Flash movie. They should have just canceled this one, forgotten all about it.
It wasn't great.
It's a bad year for superhero movies. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Zach?
I'm so sorry.
Second bottom.
I'm so sorry, Ken.
Again?
Okay, so this is my most.
Oh, you want to rip on La La Land now?
This is my most confusing one because this also almost made my other list and my honorable mentions. I don't know what to do or make heads or tails of this movie. This came from 2018, and it's a very simple IMDb synopsis. A grieving family is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences.
Hereditary?
This might be my second bottom. And it might be my second top. I have no idea what to make of this movie.
Is it because it hurt your soul a
All
little
I'll
bit?
say this is it stuck with me, and I think that's good. But
It is
I also
good.
wish it
You know
was.
what else sticks with you? Ingrown toenails.
I also wish that it was never inside my heart or soul ever.
But as its purpose is to unsettle you.
It works. It's affecting.
Right.
It's all of the things that it
How
sets
much
out to
did you
do.
know going into it?
I knew about.
It was a slow movie, maybe.
I knew.
Did you know about the big shock?
I knew that it was a little unsettling and that things were unsettled from their body
Yes. Okay.
in the car.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
I didn't know anything else. And wow, I think it's a really good movie, actually. and I hated it. What do I do with this information? Right.
So it's really well done.
Yeah.
I think so. And the other thing, and you.
No, it's like like a beautiful sculpture made of pineapple. I would hate it,
Yeah.
but I can appreciate that.
And
a lot of work went into that.
The night I saw it, we immediately recorded Baconsale.
Yeah.
Kent, you had walked away to do something, and Joel and I had a really good conversation about it, and I
Yeah.
think it made me like the movie more. But we were both having this really good intellectual conversation about how freaky it was,
About
but
how
also
disturbed we were.
Yeah.
what it was trying to say, and
And how it's not going to be an annual viewing at this point.
no.
Right.
But-
Okay, take it easy.
But I'm like, wow, that was the best movie I hate.
Actually, I totally respect
Okay,
that.
there we go.
Yeah.
That was my second bottom.
All right, dishonorable mentions. Joel.
Yes, a couple honorable mentions here, real quick, that didn't make my bottom five. A chorus line, apparently, I think for musicals. This year, I didn't like it.
That's a good opening number, and that's about it.
Yeah, one singular sensational song does not make for a good movie. Cheaper by the Dozen, the remake, 2022 with what's his name, Zach Braff, horrible. Time Walker, The Awakening, Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. It's a stretch of mummy movies there that were just bad. Canadian Bacon, one of John Candy's last films, terrible. Rock of Ages, no, that was stupid.
You have
Tom Cruise is good in it.
You have a perky heart, Joel?
And Barbie.
Barbie. Bold. I did
Hey,
not.
at least you watched it.
I did. I watched
hold on,
Barbie.
hold
I
on.
watched Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Mission Impossible.
Do you want to go into your
42
reasons, or would you rather avoid that controversy?
No,
Although the controversy's passed.
No, I thought the script was looked like it was written, cobbled together by 7-year-olds and then covered in Greta Gerwig's cynicism.
Did you
like, just
not like?
coated in it.
Did you not like the one joke it told over and over again, or what?
Well, we'll talk about that. The thing is, it's honorable mention. I don't want to talk about. We're already way long in the
I know,
show. Move on.
that's
Kent, do you go to your honorable
Yeah,
mentions?
Exorcist Believer, horrible. You People, which was a Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill movie on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It knows what it is. Like, it's a bad movie, but it's just a bad movie. And Expendables. It's horrible.
I didn't see any of those.
Yeah, don't, please don't.
Yeah.
Zach, what about you?
Didn't really have much. Again, I watched a lot of good movies, but I don't think I liked The Jerk. Maybe.
Oh, was Steve Martin, the comedy?
Yeah, I don't think I liked it.
Yeah, I
so
get it.
I'm gonna maybe put it as an honorable mention. That's about it.
Okay.
All right, what's your bottom?
My number one worst movie that I watched last year is set in 1950s Baltimore, and directed by John Waters.
Yeah.
And it's not Hairspray.
No.
This is Crybaby.
There we go.
Zach, when you mentioned your costume of Crybaby that you dressed up as at your work, and I was like, "That's right, my sister had that poster on her wall with Johnny Depp's big face,
Iconic,
and the cute girl like with the pink outfit."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Yeah, I remember that. I remember that poster my sister had. Maybe I should give this movie a shot." Nope. That was a mistake. First of all, I don't know, it's a musical. Not that I have anything against musicals. Apparently, I do this year because I put a lot of those on my bottom list.
Jill hates musicals.
I don't though. These are the ones I hadn't seen, maybe for a reason.
No, but there are a lot of bad musicals. I'll give you that.
Yeah, so this synopsis is 1950s Baltimore. A bad boy with a heart of gold wins the love of a good girl whose boyfriend sets out for revenge. And this has Johnny Depp in it and a bunch of other people you probably don't care about, except for Willem Dafoe. He's in it briefly. Oh, Iggy Pop's in it too, and Ricky Lake. The poster is the best thing about the movie, honestly.
Zach's costume is the best thing about this movie.
I knew who John Waters is. I know who John Waters is. I expected some camp.
Yeah.
I expected some camp. If you don't know who John Waters is, you're
good.
You're good. He's a very niche audience likes his movies. He's very bizarre. But it was just horrible. Like the acting was hammy. The plot is pointless. The music is completely forgettable. I tried to think of a single song to sing and I can't think of one. And it is bizarre and unfunny and oddly grotesque. Like there's nothing really gross that happens on the screen, but I just felt gross watching it. I mean, I feel bad pointing this out, but there's a character in there whose name's Hatchet Face, and they intentionally they make her up to look unattractive because that's kind of the role. And then she makes these weird faces the whole time, and I was like, get off the screen.
Yeah.
You're hamming it up. I don't like the way you look. Get away. And Johnny Depp, he took this role because he didn't want to be known as like the teen idol anymore. He wanted to try this kind of, because it's like this weird satire of like Grease, we'll say.
Okay.
Except without the charm and without the cleverness, without anything that made Grease better than it. There was a Broadway musical that spawned from this movie, ran for 2 months, then shut down. But I hated it. I hate Crybaby, and I never, ever want to watch this movie again. Don't watch Crybaby.
You know what, Joel? It's not good. You're right.
Thank you.
Yep. Kent?
My bottom. My bottom. Bell bottoms is Skinamarink.
Bell bottoms.
Number one worst movie of the year is Skinamarink.
Why did you talk about this one before?
Imagine this.
I didn't even know how to spell that.
I'm going to turn off the light, and I want you to stare at the corner of the ceiling right there for 2 hours. And then sometimes I'm just going to play white noise in the background, and you're going to be terrified. So the synopsis of this movie is actually kind of scary. 2 children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing, and all the windows and doors in their home have vanished. It's a scary thought, because you have kids wandering the house, and they can't escape. There is no escape for these kids. But essentially, what you're getting is it's a liminal space type movie, because the 2 kids, you're going to hear the kids talking like, oh, and you don't really hear them talking.
Is that how kids talk these days?
No, it's seriously like it sounds like they're 3 rooms away, where they're like, oh, what are you watching? And then it just shows baseboards. It shows dirty baseboards the entire time.
Gross.
This movie is probably like an hour, 30, hour, 45 minutes. And I kept falling asleep, and I'm like, no, it's meant to be scary. Get in the zone. The lights are off. Feel the fear. And there are a couple scenes where I'm like, if I squinted hard enough, I'd be like, okay, maybe that could be a scary image. Oh, wait, it's like a Playmobil phone. Like, that's what I'm looking at. And there's nothing scary here. The idea is scary. The movie was made for probably $13.
$15,000 actually, and it made $2.1 million.
I don't get it. It makes me so upset. Let's make a scary movie, guys.
I'm just looking at it right here now. Also not rated. I'm wondering what you're getting here. Like questionable material. Is there anything in there?
No. I'm thinking of blood. No.
Kent doesn't know that.
Oh, that's a good question. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm super desensitized.
I shouldn't ask you.
I think the kids probably drop a lot of F-bombs.
What?
And I had rolls across the floor. It's a movie about the fear of what's just... And I like this idea, the concept of what's just outside the camera's view. Or you're looking at somewhere in a dark room and something could appear. That's the scary part, but nothing actually happens. No. Literally nothing happens in this movie.
So avoid this one.
Avoid
this is like an art film, Sundance.
Yes, completely.
So deep horror movie.
Yep. This is like Slam Dance. It's not even Sundance. It's just way too
Blair
artsy.
Witch for snobs.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Zach, bottom.
I've already gone into this at length.
You want to apologize to me?
Kent?
I'm not going into it here. I apologize to both of you. My least favorite movie I saw for the year by far was The Goonies. Sorry, I'm not even going to talk about it. Everybody knows. I'm sorry.
Which we talked about on our Family Film of Family
The
Films
worst.
episode.
I was my least favorite movie I saw this year.
Wait, bro,
Yeah, Joel.
I was going to ask. I'm trying to think of the other movies he put on there before.
I would rather watch Hereditary again than The Goonies once.
What?
That's not what I said.
I mean,
Don't
you're
tell me
right.
what I know, Travis.
I don't get that.
I'm not going to. I'm done.
Okay.
The cast is fun.
Guys,
They grow up to be fun.
let's get into the happy side.
Okay, we're going to be
Yes,
positive.
Now that we are
Yes.
57 to
We're going to spend
85% of the way
spend
through our
16
show.
minutes on positivity.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So my fifth best that I watched.
Fifth top?
Yes. No. Stop.
Tippity top is
By
what
the
we
way,
call it, actually.
the average date for my best movies is 2011. Relatively new.
Zach was born.
Yeah.
I was alive at that point. Yes.
You guys know how my fifth worst was a Beatles movie?
Yeah.
My fifth best is a Beatles movie.
Really?
The Beatles, 8 days a week, the touring years.
All right,
A
all
lot
right.
of love got given to Get Back.
This was a documentary, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we did talk about this fairly recently on our documentary episode we just did. So I don't want to go too much into it. But essentially, everyone was giving all this love to Get Back, which was this 8-hour documentary on Disney Plus, and it was about them breaking up. This was the glory days of the Beatles. This is their touring years, and this is a compilation of found footage during that time from 1963 to 1966. And I really enjoyed this. This is directed by Ron Howard, by the way. And it's just fun. Like, it was just fun to see the good days of the Beatles. And this was on Hulu, I believe, initially.
Okay.
Still there. TVMA, because there's two F words in it.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but Whoopi Goldberg drops an F word, I think.
Yeah. Some kids drop F words.
No, that's your movie, Skid and
Yeah,
Murky Dinky
apparently.
Dink. But I do feel like this movie, the Beatles 8 days a week, was one that any Beatles fan could enjoy and would enjoy. I recommend watching it, especially if you've seen Get Back and was kind of down by how down that documentary was.
Right.
This one's up.
Okay.
Beatles, 8 days a week.
Fifth top is, I talked about a scary movie for my least favorite movie of the year, but this one is Talk to Me. This is one of these Sundance movies, and just to explain, it's when a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. This is kind of like an anti-drug movie. This is like, and these are actual teens. These aren't 30-year-olds playing teens. Teens have these secret parties, and there's an embalmed hand that you shake, and you say, and you have to be tied down so that you don't get possessed. You say,
we're not going to play rent.
Yeah.
We're not paying rent anymore.
yeah. You say, talk to me, and then no one else sees this but you. A spirit will appear in front of you.
I've already seen too much of this than I wanted to because the trailers have come out and ads.
Yeah, and that's the problem with some of these like indie horror movies is that the trailer wants to really sell this new IP, and it shows too much. This is one that you should go in pretty fresh. But Joel, even when you watch this one, probably this upcoming Halloween,
Hope so.
You're gonna have a good time with it
Because it is R, right?
It is quite R.
Yeah. So I'm going to find a clear player.
It's very, very bloody, but it is like kind of like the big horror surprise. I always hope for one
It's
every
very
year.
bloody?
Yeah,
I didn't expect bloody. I thought it was like psychological horror.
both, but really bloody.
Okay.
Yeah, I could go into that, but no, this isn't like a game
I don't
changer.
mind bloody. I just don't like gory.
Okay, Sam,
No.
it is. There's gore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hate to say.
Yeah.
Anyways.
There's a difference between bloody and gory. Texture. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm fine with
It's
bloody.
like the graininess.
There's-
It's like the brain matter. Is that what we're talking about?
Guts.
Eyes, eyeballs.
Stop.
Yeah, eyeballs. Right.
What?
So if there's any thickness
Stop.
to the blood,
I'm sorry I brought it up.
But this is an A24 movie, and we kind of joke about how they're super experimental on
Yeah.
purpose. This is, I think, their most mainstream movie because this is a teen horror movie, and I feel like it takes where Scream has failed now as a franchise. Talk to Me could claim that and could have some really.
Could it be the next Saw?
It could be the next Saw or next Scream because there's so much that you could do with this embalmed hand in other movies that literally have nothing to do with these characters. And I can't wait to see where it goes. And I really enjoyed this one. This one could become an annual watch for me.
Huh.
But
So
also,
Hereditary,
I'm a little dark.
Hereditary and Talk to Me are like your go-to annual viewings.
Yeah, and there's
Ladies, he's single.
texture. There's textured blood.
Zach, what's your
in
four?
this movie?
What's your four best?
My fifth bottom?
No, they're not bottom anymore.
My fifth top.
Your fifth top.
My fifth top. Hey guys, it's a movie that came out in 2023.
Whoa.
Hey, are you so proud of me? We actually have already discussed this movie on episode 429. This is still a Michael J. Fox
Love
movie.
it.
Follows the life of beloved actor and advocate Michael J. Fox, exploring his personal and professional triumphs and travails, and what happens when an incurable optimist confronts an incurable disease.
This is an excellent choice, Zach.
I think this movie is great. I think we talked about it a lot on the documentary kit. But to quickly sum up, not only is it a fascinating story about an actor who I loved as a kid, but I think the documentary itself is just really presented in a creative way.
Very well told.
It is snappy. I think the actual recreations, what do they call them? You know, the little
dramatizations.
Reenactments. Those are among the best I've ever seen in a movie. And then the way it intercuts scenes from his work is brilliant. So well made, interesting to watch, interesting guy. Can't recommend it enough. Still, this is on Apple TV Plus.
It's really driving me crazy how fast you go with your picks.
Why?
Just because you're really efficient with these picks, and Joel and I talk a lot.
I mean, we've already talked about this one.
Yeah.
I went fast on my last one. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't actually.
We do need to give these our time, right? We need to give these our love because they are the good movies of the year. Joel, what's your fourth?
My fourth best. I'm going to break the rules of podcasting here and do something that's entirely a physical inside joke for the people in the room right now, and see if they can guess what movie is my fourth best. Okay, guys, look at me. Ready? Ready? Look at me. Oh, Zach, you know?
No. What's this from?
It's a mountain man nodding.
This is
in agreement.
Jeremiah Johnson.
This is Jeremiah Johnson. Came out in 1972. Here's the synopsis.
The camera pan.
The camera zooms in and then he gives a nod. Robert Redford.
Joel just gave us a real life GIF. A flesh and blood GIF.
A real
Flesh and blood.
A mountain man who wishes to live the life of a hermit becomes the unwilling object of a long vendetta by the Crow tribe and proves to be a match for their warriors in a single combat on the early frontier. It's a mouthful, but essentially, Robert Redford, mountain man in the mountains of Utah, actually.
Yeah.
It's directed by Sidney Pollack, starring Robert Redford. And this
Joel, you've never seen this movie?
I'd never seen it.
This is a great movie.
I know now.
I saw it in school.
No, Joel's now that dad that watches this on.
And Robert Redford is my mom's number one celebrity crush.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why this wasn't watched more in our household. But this is, as weird as it sounds, an oddly soothing film. Like it's a lot of outdoors and silent moments and just beautiful landscapes, but also coupled with these really hardship this character is facing. He's literally just trying to survive. But there's a sense of hope and courage and perseverance that just kind of cushions the whole story. And as weird as it is, because I'm out, what's that meme where it says, I'm not outdoorsy, I'm outdoors-ish?
Yeah.
Where I love being outside,
Right.
but I want a flushing toilet nearby. That's kind of how I am.
I'm an indoorsy person, but I get it.
But it's a thing where it resonated with me. This idea of him, he wanted to get away from the world and just be with nature and live on the land. And it is an isolated existence, which I'm a very social person that way. I don't like isolation. But I kind of went, I get it. I understand what's going on here. And I admit, I did choose to watch this movie primarily because I kept seeing the GIF and I was like, you know what? I do want to watch that movie that Robert Redford's in. And I'm glad I did. Because it really did also help me appreciate the life I live a little more.
Sure.
The fact that I can turn on a microwave and warm up my leftovers is an amazing thing compared to this guy who literally has to fight a bear to get food.
Hold on, Joel, you're not supposed to do that with sushi.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
Do you look at your
was
reflection?
a tempura roll.
Do you look at your reflection in the microwave and do that
The
nod?
The nod, yeah.
I
The
see
Robert
you.
Redford GIF nod.
13 seconds left.
But yes, I would. And this was, I was going to say Utah Connection. This was filmed like in places like Mount Timpanogos and Snow Canyon State Park in St. George,
Cool.
and Sundance. Yeah,
He's just so handsome.
Yeah, he is. Go, Robert Redford's handsome, and you should watch Jeremiah Johnson to see how handsome he is.
I'm feeling very wholesome about that pick.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, rated GP because that's
Excuse me?
that's what PG was in 1972.
All right.
It's a pretty tame movie.
Sure.
Little-
What was the part with the bear?
That's the
at the
Revenant.
end? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I get them mixed
No,
up all
it's
the
a little
time.
disturbing at parts because there's scalping that happens, but it's not gory.
Kent, what's your fourth top?
Fourth up, it's actually perfect for this because it's John Wick Chapter 4.
Wow.
And it's over the top. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. This is directed by Chad Stahelski, who's did the last, I think, 2, 3, and 4. John Wick, they're not really known.
So how is John Wick 4 Paramecium?
No, they were like, hey, Parabellum was kind of weird. Why did we do that? Chapter 4. Let's just stick it there.
Good.
This is a series not known for its story, but known for its consistent quality in action. It may be a little bit like the Bourne series where you get the action a little confused. I think 2 and 3 do kind of meld together for me. 4 stands apart. 4 and 1 are the best John Wick movies. And the others, not that much further back, but they're, especially in the last hour of this movie, are 3 over-the-top action scenes that are all-time action scenes. We talked about this a
One
lot last
quite
season.
literally over the top.
Yeah, literally over the top, where you get this like Hotline Miami view, and the drone pans over this hotel shootout, and it is stunning. I watched it with my mouth open, just kind of going, yep, I'm seeing masterwork. The stunt work, the choreography, the music, everything is the right kind of style, and this was the perfect way to kind of give this character a nice, I don't know, I guess give this character justice. I'll just say that.
Are there going to be more though?
Well, look, Joel.
Okay, so
they know they should stop. I'll say that.
one of my big issues is that the fact that these movies go back to back to back.
Yeah.
And John Wick has not had time to recover from his wounds.
No.
That's one of my issues.
They know they should stop, but these movies make money, and they almost just keep getting better. They are going to make Ballerina. No, seriously, John
Number
Wick
one
4
is the best one.
John Wick 4 is one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Maybe I should watch it.
Yeah, you absolutely should watch it.
I'm waiting for my brothers. We got to have a brother night so we can watch
Okay,
it.
please
Hey,
do.
why is his gun a sparkler? I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, you'll see. It's Dragon's Breath. Anyways, Zach, what's your fourth top?
I don't know. I'm feeling bad about this next one.
It's a good pick,
I have
though.
to apologize. Well, I feel like
Sorry, Ken, I like this movie.
Is it
I feel like
Hereditary?
Kent might bring it up later. I don't want to talk about it now. Okay, so I just have to set the stage. I watched 6 movies in preparation for this movie. I was very excited to see this new movie that came out in 2023, that I watched an entire series of movies that are very similar to this movie before. But it was dang fun ride the whole first half of my year because I really liked Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Speaking of mouthfuls and titles.
Oh boy. Ethan Hunt and his IMF team must track down a dangerous weapon before it falls into the wrong hands, and they probably get disavowed at some point. This is just like a warm blanket of wonderful action movie at this point.
A warm blanket of espionage.
It really is. So I saw all of the Mission Impossibles except for Mission Impossible 2 for the first time in 2023. And I really could have put... This is an honorable mention to the entire series.
Sure.
Because it's really great. And I did enjoy Dead Reckoning quite a bit.
Is it the part 1 of it all that ruins it a little bit?
Yes.
I think so.
And also a character death that ruins a lot of it?
You can't spend almost 3 hours in a movie and then be like, we'll finish it later. Tell a complete
And I
story.
know they're setting
Tell a
so
complete
much up.
story.
And last year was the year of 3-hour plus movies and part 1s. We
Yes.
saw
Yes.
that, and it's very annoying.
And we did say it's a weaker year for movies. I might say because of that.
And so I eagerly anticipate the next one. I'm just like, give me the promise that I want.
Sure. It is a little bit of a hanging thread, right? So, and again, I saw all of them. So I could put Fallout right here as well, which was the previous one.
But this one felt like the most Bond movie to me.
And maybe that's why I really liked it.
Okay.
There are a couple of different action set pieces in this movie that are downright funny.
Yeah.
If I had to say, I think the best Mission Impossible is probably Fallout. I think my favorite might be Rogue Nation. This was the 4th one, directed by Brad Bird.
By Janet Jackson.
Because, yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
We are a part
Mission
of
Impossible
a
Rhythm
rogue
Nation.
nation.
Yeah, that's the one where you have to do it by the stunt, right? The
Yeah.
Burj Khalifa one?
Yes.
Yes. I love that
The
one.
Burj Khalifa
That's a
climbing
fantastic
and all
stunt,
the sandstorm and all of that.
Been
That one,
a long time. Anyway.
that one is ridiculous, right? That movie, Rogue Nation, is like over the top with gadgets and bizarre and fun.
Yes.
And I think Dead Reckoning injects just enough of that ridiculous fun to make it a very enjoyable film for me. I'm honestly fine that it didn't even end.
Don't you kind of feel bad that he in the stunt was cool that he did it, but he hyped the stunt that in the movie wasn't all that big.
I actually kind of hated it in the
Yeah.
movie. Because I was like,
He rode a bike off a cliff.
the real thing
and
is
his
better.
promo for the movie is super cool.
The promo for it is better, and it's like he went off a jump, but then it's just CGI dirt. What? I saw them jump 55 times in every movie I saw. What? What's going on? But anyway,
Oh, the running scene in this one's so good.
the running scene
Which
is
one?
On top
so
of the
good.
airport. Oh, which one exactly?
There's multiple.
Yeah.
So I don't go to these movies for story. So the fact that it technically doesn't end, I don't care. Because every Mission Impossible has 2 phases.
Yeah.
They have the thing, getting the thing, and then using the thing. I'm fine that they wrapped up the getting the thing part of the story, right? We're going to have the using the thing part in the next one. I'm fine with that.
Tell a complete story, you cowards.
It ends enough for me.
Haley
ends-
Atwell is delightful in this
I
movie.
think she's
She
very
is.
good.
Yeah.
A wonderful addition.
They work very well together.
Yeah.
Enough that, you can kill some characters off.
No, I hate that.
Stop. Okay, how long have you talked about Zach about short things?
Yeah, I know. He's
There
now
we go.
lost
There
that.
we go. Yep, that's fine. My fourth top, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Joel, third top.
My third is also about espionage.
Yes.
We both were We were all relaxed and we're like, yeah.
Corporate espionage.
Ew.
Tetris. 2023's Tetris.
I was hoping
I
to be
was hoping
Blackberry.
for Thomas
No.
Crown Affair.
Have you guys seen Blackberry? It's very good.
No.
What?
Yeah.
2023, the year of the corporate movie.
Yes.
And
So
you have-
Tetris, this came out on Apple TV Plus. Here's the synopsis. The story of how one of the world's most popular video games found its way to players around the globe. Now, this is starring Taron Egerton and a bunch of other people. The thing I found most interesting
starring
about...
Taron Egerton, and it doesn't matter after that.
Yes, he's literally the face on the poster. But this is literally, I mean, the story about how Tetris got distribution rights.
An embellished story of
Kinda.
Tetris.
But the most amazing thing to me was how tense I was
Yeah.
during this. Because literally the guy in the real life world had to go into Russia undercover, essentially, to find the creator of this game and to get the rights so he could bring them back to America. And his life literally was in danger at a couple times. Now, is it completely accurate? No. In fact, the guy, Alexei Pajitnov, I'm not going to say that right, he admitted that they, quote, didn't make an actual biography or an actual recreation of what actually happened, but that it was close enough and very right emotionally and spiritually.
Okay.
And it is so engaging. And Taron Egerton does a great job. Like, I keep being like, this guy has talent.
I'm starting to think he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of good.
And you've
at
seen, him
just
in
now.
you've seen him in Kingsman, Secret Service.
I even think he's good
Rocket
at Robin
Man?
Hood, man. I like that guy.
Wow.
I don't like that movie, but
Guy
he's good
Ritchie's
in it.
Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's not the problem with that movie.
This, speaking of fun visuals, you talked about that with still a Michael J. Fox story.
Yes.
This movie also does these 8-bit effects at certain times,
Yeah.
and I just kind of go, ha! I liked that. And the soundtrack is fun too. They use the Tetris soundtrack at parts. I know it's some parts of it are complete fiction, but
But were you entertained?
I was highly entertained and tense. And I went, man, I wish more people would be able to watch this. And it made me want to play Tetris. So Tetris 2023, a 2023 movie, Kent. There you go.
I feel like anything that
actually
makes you
very
want to
happy.
anything that makes you want to play Tetris has got to be a pretty good thing.
I will play Tetris every day.
I still have not seen this movie. I saw a documentary about this story on G4 TV for Gamers in 2003.
Wow.
And that's as much as I know about it. So
There's now documentaries about G4.
okay. What's your third bottom top thing?
Third top bottom
I'm sad.
from the top
You guys just confuse the listener. It's third best.
is Flora and Son. This is another Sundance movie I saw.
I love Florence Henderson.
Florence Henderson. A single mom at war with their son is trying to find a hobby for him. One day, she rescues a guitar from a dumpster. This is directed by John Carney and stars Eve Hewson and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This John Carney did some of my favorite movies, i.e. Sing Street, and then Begin Again and Once, which Joel doesn't like.
What?
He's a musical director. That's kind of been his forte. And I think what he does brilliantly. And it takes about 5 years between movies, but they're all worth it. Eve Hewson, by the way, is the daughter of Bono.
Oh,
You wouldn't even know it. By the way, this is on Apple TV Plus right now. This is one of those like sneaky, heartwarming movies, but a content warning. It is Irish. That's all.
Clear Play can't filter out Irishness, Kent.
It should in this case. And it's weird because it kind of has this Ted Lasso vibe where the movie just sneaks up on you and charms you so much. And they're saying horrible words. And you're like, dang it. It's really too crass for general audiences if you can watch this one edited or if you can handle that.
Just requested it on Clear Play.
Do they have it on ClearPlay?
No,
That's
they don't.
good.
I just requested it.
Okay. But it's a really kind of like where Sing Street was a dedication to brothers. This one is a dedication to mothers and the sacrifices that moms make for their kids. And even when sometimes it seems like they shouldn't or the kids are undeserving, they still do.
Then Angel has it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm on it. Adding to my list.
And it's very rewatchable. I've seen it now 3 times, and every time I watch it, I kind of get a little misty-eyed at the end. But anyways, everyone, if you can handle it, go watch Flora and Son. It is absolutely delightful, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. It's been a while since he's been in anything good.
Gotta love JGL.
Yep. Zach?
All right, my third top. This is where the advantage of me not having seen a lot of movies comes in because I get to throw in some classics in my list. And mine comes from 1972.
Jeremiah Johnson?
Don Vito Corleone, head of a mafia family, decides to hand over his empire to his youngest son, Michael. However, his decision unintentionally puts the lives of his loved ones in grave danger.
Hot take, Zach.
I
like The Godfather.
Well,
I'm
just
so
so you guys
sorry.
know, The Godfather is pretty good.
Powerful
Very
drama.
weird.
Powerful drama.
A compelling from literally the first moment of the first scene.
Why does it seem like it was made in 2023? Because it's 3.5 hours. That's why.
Well, it's just so when
I'm trying to think of the first scene right now.
The first scene, he's sitting down with the guys coming to him for a favor on the day of his daughter's wedding,
Yes,
and he's like,
yes.
"I want you to take this guy out." And he's like, first of all, you didn't respect me. Second of all, no, everything's fine. Justice is served. Whatever." But it's just this interaction from the get go just gets me into this movie, and I'm totally sold. Everyone says The Godfather Part 2 is like the pinnacle. And it is very,
It's
very
debatable.
good.
It's debatable.
It is very, very good. But for me, The Godfather just like hit me. And to see all of these things from pop culture that I'd seen throughout my whole life put together. And I've seen parody of this. And
Arrested Development.
There are so many times where you start to see parody before you see the thing.
Yeah.
And then you see the thing and you go, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
This, again, lived up to the hype and more. But again, everybody knows The Godfather's good. This is not a shocker. But I was pleasantly surprised with fresh eyes just how much I liked it.
Yes, very good.
And I was not
Very good.
expecting to like it because I don't like mobster stuff. I don't like rooting for bad people. But this, it finds a way to make it okay.
And when you were watching these type of movies, when we did Drama of Dramas, you were watching a lot of 3-hour movies.
Lots.
And this one still managed to rise above.
Yeah, and it wasn't even on the bracket, right? Godfather Part 2 was on the bracket.
Oh, yeah.
And
Forgot about
obviously I wasn't going to watch 2 without 1.
Right.
But both very rewarding.
Have you watched 3 yet?
I
haven't
no.
seen 3.
Give it a shot.
Okay.
There is a recut
There's a
version
recut
of
one,
it
yeah.
that I'm really interested in that
Yeah.
I will check out.
Yeah.
I also want to see the complete chronological cut as well.
Okay.
So again, Godfather, pretty good. Go figure.
Yeah. Zach, I'm sorry.
Yay! I get to apologize too for once. I'm the apologizer.
No, it's my number 2 is actually still a Michael J. Fox movie.
Oh, yes.
I sorry because you already talked about it,
Yeah.
and so I'm just going to bring it up again. But just really, really well done. And this one is it's on Apple TV Plus. It is R for language, but it's available on ClearPlay and VidAngel if you want to get rid of a couple words.
Not a ton.
No, there's not even that much. But I just thought it was such a fantastic documentary, and we did already talk about this in our intermediate kit.
Yeah.
But it's an inspiring movie, and
Yeah.
it makes you appreciate life a little more. And isn't
Totally.
that a good reason to watch movies, to walk away from it going, you know what, I want to be a better person. I want to be more optimistic.
But also, and I think this is credit to Mike Fox himself.
Wow,
Mike
Mike.
Fox.
Yeah, we're on those terms.
Took out the L and the J.
Yeah.
a little cool J.
He's got this.
No, it's all.
He's got this huge thing going on. Yet I didn't feel sorry.
No, he doesn't feel
Right?
sorry for
Because he
himself.
won't allow you to.
No.
And so I think it's good. You can watch a lot of these and go, especially maybe it's a documentary about a sick kid or something. You just feel awful for them.
Yeah.
And you don't with this.
Right.
So it makes it somehow more digestible.
Yeah.
Totally.
There you go. That's mine.
Great
That's my number
pick.
2. Thank you.
Great pick.
Thank you.
For my second top, I would also like to say sorry to Christopher Nolan. Oppenheimer.
That's your number 2.
My number 2.
Okay.
The story of American
Well,
scientists.
we already established that you weren't a fan of his anymore last season. That
listen.
was pretty established facts.
I'm sorry. But it's the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb, starring Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, and 97.
Everyone else who's trying to revitalize their career.
Oh,
and did
Josh
it.
Hartnett, all-star.
Looking good.
Looking great.
Hartnett sons?
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Oh, I'd be so into
No,
that.
I watched this one, and you guys watched it
Be
well
still
before
my
I did.
Hartnett.
And I knew some people were in it, but it took me a while to recognize Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, right?
And then all of a sudden, the movie kept doing that where I'm like, hey. Like I kept I was doing the Leonardo DiCaprio
Almost
thing.
to the point where you have to watch it again because the first time you get a little distracted.
Yes.
Because they're doing a lot of science talk and you're like, but I know that actor.
Yeah, but the thing is, Christopher Nolan said he intentionally cast well-known actors so that you could easily identify when they say, hey, we're talking about Heisenberg. You're like, oh, I know who that is. That's the guy from I can't remember
Kenneth Branagh or someone like that,
it's
right?
He's not Heisenberg, but yeah.
Yeah. And so this isn't my favorite Nolan movie, but I think in its way, this is a perfect production. Okay, maybe not perfect because there's a flaw and they push for the R. There is some awkward stuff in there that didn't need to be there. Thematically works for who Oppenheimer is. In fact, they could have gone a little darker based on who he... It kind of is a lot of his background stuff.
Can I say that I was more interested in the science than I was the politics?
Oh, so near the end, you got a little out of it.
No. Okay, so the first part, I was kind of out of it. And then as it got into the...
Oh, because it
the
sets up
repercussions-
some of
Yes.
the twist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that part I wasn't as interested in. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I get why you did that, but...
And I've heard a lot of people complain about the structure I
Jumping
wouldn't.
around in time.
And I think
I don't mind that at all.
as far as showing or not showing what really happens with the bomb, it really gives this perspective where you, like him, don't know what you've done. You know,
there's a removal there, and that's why I thought it was very tastefully done. I might even say respectful, because they don't show the carnage of the bomb.
Oh man, but when he's in that rally,
but they reference it, and suddenly you're like, whoa!
It's the scariest scene I've seen all year.
Well, remember as well,
You watched Talk to Me.
Yeah, no, it's scarier than anything in that.
it's not called the making of the A-bomb
Yeah.
or the effects of the A-bomb. It's about Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
And that's
and the regret of the character.
for better or worse, I think that's what makes this movie interesting. And then it goes into the political intrigue, and
Right.
and you're maybe you're connected to this character at that point, and I think it makes it
Right.
I think it makes it something a little bit more than a docufilm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Technically, the best film of the year, just not my favorite. And
Wonderful practical effects.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach, what about you?
My
Second top.
is 2023's Oppenheimer.
Okay, there we are.
20s. Yes. I can't say enough about the making of this movie. The film making on display here is amazing. Cillian Murphy's performance is just so good.
Yeah.
And you only needed 6 months to do it, Cillian Murphy.
Is that a jab at Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
Are you subtweeting Bradley Cooper?
Yes. Bradley Cooper. It's not that hard, man.
He's already said he's not going to win awards.
He put on.
You're punching down.
He put on a prosthetic nose to play a Jewish guy. I think it's pretty offensive at this point. He deserves some flack, okay?
For Maestro. Maestro he's talking about
Maestro,
everyone.
but Leonard Bernstein movie.
Yeah.
But again, I echo a lot of what you said, Kent. This movie is really well made. Some bizarre choices as far as content.
Yeah.
Not to say that type of content upsets me, but it just felt really forced and kind of bizarre. But overall, beautiful movie, and glad I saw it on the biggest screen I could see it on.
Which is weird because it's a dialogue movie.
It's such a very extreme close-up dialogue movie,
right?
But yet somehow felt really important to see it on a big screen.
Yeah, I agree.
So I thought Oppenheimer was great.
Okay.
Joel,
So honorable mentions.
Yes.
A couple honorable mentions of the best that you're.
I have a lot.
I don't have that many, but honestly, you can actually see my full 10 at thefarmer786.blogspot.com. But some honorable mentions I just want to throw out there. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Also on mine.
amazing?
What the heck?
It's so good.
Why is that so entertaining?
It was out of my top 10 last year, and it's crept into my top 5 from last year.
It was really entertaining.
Or by 2022, I mean.
Speaking of mobster movies, Zach, I'm not a big fan either, but I watched. I'd seen pieces of A Bronx Tale before, but I finally sat down and watched A Bronx Tale.
Okay.
I haven't.
Really good.
Yeah.
Megan was
Is that the one with the big shark?
No, that's the one with the robotic AI girl.
Oh.
The horror movie there.
Yep.
And it was surprisingly entertaining. Like I didn't
Because
expect
it's
much.
a family scary movie? Is that why?
I don't know why. Like I actually went into it going, all right, whatever. This is a
Child's Play.
background horror movie, Child's Play, whatever. Teeny Bopper Child's Play. And then I was like, oh, that was freaky. And then another part happened, and I'm like, that made me laugh. And
There's a rated R cut with more blood.
with more blood gore coming from the ear.
textured
Texture?
blood.
Yeah.
Textured blood.
Textured
Yeah.
blood.
Gross. And then another one I just want to mention right here is A Night to Remember, 1958.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is a movie about the Titanic, and I would say it's better than the 1997 movie Titanic.
Oh, wow.
It felt a lot more dramatic and much less cool, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Titanic is so cool.
The movie Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio.
You mean Billy Zane? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Billy Zane, he's fine. But no, A Night to Remember really it wrenched my heart. And it was one of those movies I was like, yeah, I know the story of the Titanic, but the way they did it. And I watched this movie because I think it was when we were doing Drama of Dramas, I found out that James Cameron had ripped off some elements of this movie that weren't like actual parts of Titanic, but he just used those dramatic elements in his movie. And so I was like, well, I want to see this movie. And then I went, I like that better than Titanic. So A Night to Remember, 1958. Those are some of my honorable mentions.
Mine are Godzilla -1, which will creep into my
want
top 5,
to see
if not
that.
top 3 this year. It is absolutely wonderful. Radical, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wait, what's Radical?
Radical is a teacher in Mexico in an impoverished school.
Oh, yeah, with the guy from Coda.
Yeah, it is absolutely great. It is a typical teacher helping needy kids story, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's great, and I cried.
Killers of the Flower Moon is not your number one?
Killers of the Flower Moon is in my honorable mentions.
I know what his number one is.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm missing it.
Still, honorable mention.
Yeah.
And The Holdovers, which has Paul Giamatti.
I wanted to see that one. That's the one where the Christmas one,
It
right?
will sneak up on you.
Yeah.
I know it's not Christmas anymore. Watch this movie still. It's kind of a winter.
It's Paul
movie.
Giamatti and a bunch of kids at a boarding school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
At first, you're like, oh, I hate this, and I hate the characters, and then it charms you. It's wonderful. Zach, honorable mentions?
Mostly the theme of my honorable mentions is I just had a good time. I really enjoyed them. I thought that Super Mario Brothers movie was kind of fun. It's colorful.
Yeah.
It's candy.
It's what the movie should have been back when we got the live action
Yeah,
one.
sure.
Did it have a story?
No.
Okay.
Does any Mario anything ever have a story?
Oh, listen, that the original
doesn't need
was
to.
Eye of assistance.
Yeah, that's the best story in a Mario ever. Game Night. First time I ever saw 2018's
That's
Game
a
Night.
funny comedy.
Oh no, he died. I literally laughed 2 tears twice in this movie. I think very highly of it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the most bizarre and fun movie experiences I've ever had was when I watched The Cabin in the Woods for the very first time.
Love it.
I think this movie is insane.
That almost made my worst.
It's I love it so
Me
much.
too.
Bad child acting.
What?
Bad child acting.
Not Knock at the Cabin. Cabin in the Woods with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, yeah, Joel. Not
My
Knock at the Cabin in
apologies.
the Woods.
Editor's note. I thought he meant knock at the cabin.
Yeah, no, Cabin in the Woods. The fun, weird one.
Joel,
No,
I
that's
was like, I thought I knew Joel. What?
No,
Yeah,
no,
he
I,
was
I
like,
own Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a blast watching that. This just in, good movie is good. Casablanca.
Yeah.
Holds up so well.
So good.
I was expecting slow, boring movie. The dialogue is like absolutely out of a modern movie.
Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin would be so jealous. Okay, this one is for you guys, and maybe my biggest surprise of the year of how much I liked it. It is The Conjuring. Honorable mention.
That,
Yeah.
for a guy who doesn't like horror that much,
I really, really liked it.
it's a scary movie.
And then this one is also for you guys. I cannot believe I never actually saw it. I mean, I probably saw it as a child, but I never remembered it. And I was just whisked away and blown away at The Neverending Story.
that was a first timer in 2023.
I believe so.
so happy right
At least sat down and watched the whole thing. Man,
you showed it to your children
I
yet?
think I told you guys. I think I only remembered part 2.
Yes.
I think I only ever saw part 2.
That in the ring. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So Neverending Story. Man, it's so good.
It is good.
Joel, what's your favorite movie?
That I
Your
watched
favorite
in
movie that you
2023.
saw in
That you saw.
2023.
Now,
New to you.
I need to apologize to Kent.
Thank you, guys.
Apologies to Matt Damon.
I'm
what?
sorry. I didn't watch Last Night in Soho before 2023.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
So,
Did you
Zach,
ever watch
you like
Zach
it
as well?
too.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
So, but it's an Edgar Wright movie, so that's why I tossed it over to Kent. So, Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. So, I was trying to figure out a good kickoff movie to the October season.
Yeah.
And I knew this one had some dark elements, and I don't like to dive into the deep end in October. I like to start off with kind of a fun horror and then get scarier as the month goes along. It's kind of my wading into the season. And then I was like, yeah, I'll give Last Night in Soho a chance. Here's the synopsis. Aspiring fashion designer Eloise is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s where she encounters dazzling wannabe singer Sandy, but the glamour is not as it seems, and the dreams of the past crack and splinter into something darker. And this stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anna Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Terrence Stamp, Diana Rigg. And this one, it didn't do well at the box office.
No.
The budget was $43 million. It made $23 million. But a lot of that people say this was like pandemic affected movie.
It also felt like a vibe movie, like a 70s sort of vibe movie you would have seen made back then.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't think that's for everybody.
I do think that it's a little darker than it probably needed to be.
Because it's not just horror.
No,
the
there's a lot more to
content
it.
is darker.
Because it is R, and
Yeah.
it for a number of reasons. VidAngel had to do some jumping at some parts, but it is a dazzling mix of sound and story. The way the camera works and the way they do these practical effects, it is so carefully crafted. Once again, Edgar Wright does the music matching with what's happening on the camera, and it's like the soundtrack is as choreographed as the dance numbers. And I didn't know what to expect in this movie. I went into it fairly blind.
Yeah.
And I was watching the story unfold, and I did not see it coming. And when everything starts going crazy, I was totally mesmerized by what was happening. And I thought Thomasin McKenzie, she is just impressing me more and more with every movie she's in. I think the first one I saw her in, was it Jojo Rabbit?
She's got a promise.
I can't remember.
She's got a promising
Right.
future.
But I remember
She's
seeing
done
her,
well.
and I was like, she's going to be good. And every time I've seen her, I'm like, she's really good. And then Zach, to your credit, Anya Taylor-Joy commands the screen. Whenever she's on the
very-
screen, your eyes are on her.
Very interesting character, asked to do some complicated things.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good.
And then Diana Rigg, who, if you don't know who she is, she was Lady Holiday in Muppets, Great Muppet Caper. Great Muppet Caper.
What?
Oh, and Game of Thrones.
What?
Yeah. Oh, and she's also Tracy Bond.
Tracy Bond.
Yeah, she's James Bond's wife. There's actually 2 Bond girls in this movie, and they sadly both passed away after the filming of it.
that's true.
They were older. Why did I need to clarify that?
Sometimes happens.
Why did I need to clarify that? Yeah. It wasn't okay.
They weren't murdered.
Yes, they weren't murdered or anything like that. But this really was just a pleasantly dark surprise.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think more people should take a stab at watching last night.
Great pick. That's a great pick.
I saw this with Kent at the screener, and then I took my wife again to see it.
Yeah.
And then I've watched it on an airplane twice.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
It'd be a great airplane movie,
It's
actually.
a great airplane movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still, some of the songs were just so catchy. The 60s music that was playing the whole time I was like, this is so fun. Anyway, there you go.
And then they go to, she walks into the Thunderball premiere or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's great.
Joel, you seem to think that you knew what my top movie was going to be.
Yes.
What is it?
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1?
No.
He was lukewarm when I mentioned it.
Lukewarm.
I thought you were just playing coy.
It was my most anticipated movie last year, but I'm lukewarm on it.
Therefore, it must be his biggest disappointment. Bummer.
Kind of, actually. Then Rebel Moon, probably. Past Lives. What's Past Lives, you asked?
The romantic comedy, the Japanese one?
Not a comedy whatsoever.
Oh, the one with Kevin Spacey turning into a cat.
9 Lives.
Oh.
No, please no. A Saturday's Warrior? I don't even know.
No.
So Past Lives was one. I think like most of my top 5 is Sundance movies. That's why I'm saying the year
This
started
was the
off so
really
strong.
long one, right?
No, this one is just under 2 hours.
What's the one I'm thinking of then? Japanese couple, really long. Is that not Past Lives?
No.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
No, so this one, it's under 2 hours. This is a Korean couple. So Nora and Hae-sung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are arrested apart after Nora's family emigrates from South Korea. 20 years later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront notions of love and destiny. And this movie just comes out of nowhere. Joel, you know I'm a sucker for Richard Linklater and the Before Sunrise movies.
Oh, yeah.
They are just dialogue-heavy movies where two people who are clearly in love are just talking about life. And for some reason, I'm all about that genre. Granted, I think it's also there's kind of a star-crossed lover sort of thing. I really get into that. And this movie is absolutely crushing. I don't want to spoil anything, really, but just maybe to draw people in. These two are kind of like meant to be together from when they were 12. And then when the girl's family moves like across the world, they don't connect until like Facebook becomes a thing and they become Facebook friends. And then they start Skyping each other. And you're like, okay, make it happen. And then it's like, okay, but then they stop talking for reasons. And then more time passes to the present day. And you're like, but why are they not together? These two are meant to be together. And this movie goes into why. And then when they reunite, it's like this thing where you just want them to fall in love and be in love, but there are valid reasons why they should never be. And this is one of those stories of regret, longing, and sticking to your convictions. And I love this movie more than Oppenheimer.
Wow.
I believe you.
But that's not directed by Edgar Wright or Christopher Nolan.
Celine
or
Song.
Zack Snyder.
It's her first movie ever.
Huh. Is this her peak?
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope Marvel doesn't like, hey, we'll pay you a bunch of money if you got me one movies. Ugh. Okay, Zach, what's your top movie?
I kind of wish Kent would go last in this category so he can actually do a movie from 2023. Because I'm not going to. Again, being me and not having seen everything, there's a wonderful world out there. And my life was made so much better by a titan of film that entered my world. 2 movies I'd never seen before, so I have to pick one. But gentlemen, I saw Paddington 2 for the first time this year.
Not the family film.
I
family
also
films.
saw Paddington for the first time this year. These are movies that apparently a lot of our listener haven't even seen.
Are you picking Paddington or Paddington 2?
I'll pick Paddington 2.
Okay.
But it's collective. I saw both for the first time this year. Paddington, now happily settled with the Brown family, spoilers for Paddington, and a popular member of the local community, picks up a series of odd jobs to buy the perfect present for his Aunt Lucy's 100th birthday, only for the gift to be stolen. But both of these movies are just a wonderful romp through London. And if the most wonderful version.
If you have kids, you should definitely watch this with them. If you don't have kids, you should still watch these movies.
Absolutely.
They're feel-good movies to a T.
And I do appreciate, I'll give the nod to Paddington 2, which has an entire scene in a barbershop. Pretty happy about that.
That's true.
Yeah. It's so, and orange marmalade on hair.
He licks it.
Makes me very uncomfortable. But the clippers that Paddington uses, I have the same ones, the very same. So I was happy with that. But no, Paddington 2 is just such a wonderful movie. And it was one that was an instant buy. I think we rented it because it wasn't streaming at the time. And of course, like 2 months later, it was on everything.
Yeah.
But we had to rent it. And then my wife just said immediately, like, buy it. We're buying this movie, put it on digital. I want to have access to it at all times. It is so wonderful. And we have watched it multiple times since. It is a charming picture book of a movie. It makes you feel good. And you can watch it with the entire family and have a good time. Or just, you and a spouse or a significant other or a date or whatever.
Yeah.
Paddington 2.
Just to recap, Zack's is a feel-good movie about a stuffed bear come to life. Well,
no, he's a real bear.
I know, but in the book.
From deepest Peru.
Yes. He's from Peru. But a lovely story about a family
Don't
who
get
loves
so
a bear.
defensive.
Kent's is about romance and mine's about murder.
I like it.
That lines up to who we are as people.
That's marketable.
That is marketable.
We are marketable.
Sports, politics, murder. So there you go. You guys want to run through yours real quick? Bottom 5. Let's just go through all that real quick.
Okay, I'll start on this one. Some of my worst ones are in order from 5 to 1. Ghosted, The Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Flash, and Skinamarink.
Mine, Elvis, Glass Onion, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Hereditary, and The Goonies.
For a lot of people, that's like their top 5.
I know, I'm so sorry.
My worst: Magical Mystery Tour, Simply Irresistible, Rent, Prom Night, and Crybaby. Wow.
I don't want to see
Joel,
any of
yours
those.
might be the worst
It's
ones.
really bad.
They're worse. The worst. They're bad.
What about your top?
All right, from 5 to 1, Talk to Me, John Wick Chapter 4, Flora and Son, Oppenheimer, and Past Lives.
Mine, still a Michael J. Fox movie. In Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1, the first one, Dead Reckoning, Mission Impossible. The Godfather, Oppenheimer, and Paddington 2.
Nice. That's quite the mix there.
It is all over the
I just
place.
realized I have 2 documentaries on my top 5. Wow, must be a year from documentaries. Mine are Beatles 8 Days a Week, The Touring Years, Jeremiah Johnson, Tetris, still a Michael J. Fox movie, and Last Night in Soho.
It's almost like we did a documentary show.
It's almost like we did. But let us know, listener, if you've seen these movies, if you enjoy these movies, if you disagree with our decisions, or if you agree with them. We also want to see your list. Let us know on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram the worst movies that you saw last year or that were made last year, and the best movies as well. We want to hear from you. And before we go, we'd like to give some love to our patrons, those that support Baconsale and help us keep the lights on here in the Bacon Cave, including the I'm a Listener tier, which is Taylor Sanderson, Certain Madam Hicks, Shannon West, Ryan and Marley, Rocky and Steph. Remember how badly Joel wanted Masterminds to come out? Scott Sprague.
It's so true for like 3 years.
I know. Lady Terry Finley, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, Jennifer Kilkowski, Dave Kelly, Casey Cummings, Bridge is off to preach the good word, Angela Plotz, Andrew is literally Ryan Gosling, Alicia Bass, and Adam and Rachel Crump. And then we have our Bacon Council, which includes the other Brit, Johnny English, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Star Wars expert Kyler, our favorite couple of Madsons, Nicole D. Kale, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Glow Clean Daniel, Debbie Foster, and Baker!
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. You are the dead wrecking to our Parabellum. You're the you're the Skinamarink to our Dinky Dink.
No. I hate it.
Yeah.
But you're that.
Yeah. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quickwits. They perform at the Midville Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Tumbling Mustard. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Go ahead and like that Facebook page and visit at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. After you've done that, go to tpublic.com/Baconsale where you can get yourself some merch. And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. We have all sorts of fun behind the scenes perks and, of course, those ever famous Bacon bits, which kicked off the year before the actual episodes.
If you're a patron, you got to hear our voices before our voices aired for everybody.
It's true. Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, just looking at our list, guys, you know what? We are that innocent.
Joel's Rules!
Oh.
Joel's Rules are best! It's episode 500 yet.
Movies like a joke.
The quarter's called the calendar year.
Only movies that were released theatrically in certain cities in the calendar year. I don't know if you know this, but I am a card-carrying movie critic.
Wait, that's not what we're talking about today, Zach. What are we talking about today?
Did we not say that?
Did we not say that?
What are we talking about?
Curse you, AI!
Joel, your line. Joel, line.
Zach, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about movies!
Yay!
Why do you hate beautiful people?
I'm jealous.
She's good Selma Hayek of her time. A magical crab.
Okay. That's all. Period.
Because it wasn't the worst bottom.
I'm also sad about my trauma. Everyone has finally joined me in the sun.
Cameras right on.
Rent
Better.
owes me money. Scream.
She is at her Adele Dazemiest
Oh,
in
yeah.
this movie.
Modoc Bum?
Chocolate. Late night chocolate. Zack Stein.
Banana.
This is Shark Boy and Lava Girl for soft brains.
I am so sorry, Kent. I am so sorry. Joel, what's your second bottle?
That was my favorite goth band, though.
The Sanctity of the Deceased.
Yeah.
It's all done in fingernail clippings.
Yeah. I also wish that it was never inside my heart or soul ever.
It's like a beautiful sculpture made of pineapple. I would hate it,
Yeah.
but I can appreciate that.
And-
A lot of work went into that.
Then
Anyways.
There's a difference between bloody and glory. Texture. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm fine with bloody.
It's like the graininess? It's like the brain matter? Is that what we're talking about?
Good.
Eyes? Eyeballs?
stop.
Tell a complete story, you cowards.
A content warning. It is Irish.
Play can't filter out Irishness, Kent.
I know what you did.
I'll be back.